We wake up in the morning, we don't really know how we feel yet. We just want to get up and go to the loo. Perhaps our phone's by our bed, so we grab it. We go and we sit on the loo, we're just waking up, we're scrolling on social media, reading our messages, checking our emails, and all of a sudden, something is said or written, and we have this emotion. We have this feeling, and it all of a sudden feels like our day is ruined because that initial feeling that we never took the time to understand, listen to, or even feel has already started gaining momentum. The catastrophization has started, and now it's the worst day ever. We get up off the loo, we go downstairs, we're annoyed at the dogs because they want feeding. We're annoyed because somebody didn't get some more eggs yesterday. The kids are taking too long to get ready and you're going to be late for work. All of these problems start to rise to the surface. Funny thing is, these aren't problems that you don't have every day. The dogs are always nagging for food and to be let out. The kids are always messing around, not getting ready. There's always something that we haven't got, whether it be butter, milk, whatever. It's probably not about that. It's probably about that email, that Instagram post, that message that you received on the toilet. And it's probably not even about that. It's actually about the emotion you experienced right at the beginning when you first realized what was written or said, how it made you feel, that emotion that you experienced, that one that you've become so good at pushing down, at ignoring, at suggesting to yourself that you're being too sensitive, or I'm sure it doesn't mean that, instead of learning to trust your intuition about what something means. The conflict in that moment, the tension, comes from you telling yourself, telling your emotions that they're wrong, misleading, or can't be trusted. You see, this is a podcast about human behavior, self-leadership, and emotional growth. And I probably wouldn't be doing my job very well if I didn't talk about emotions, because I believe they are the most fundamental and significant truth about us as humans. Our emotions are working for us, not against us. They're on our side. They are always telling us what we feel at that moment with the information that we've got is true about us. Now, I've said it before, when you type in some numbers in a calculator, you can get the wrong answers. And our emotions are the same. If we put in the wrong information, we come to the wrong conclusion, the wrong emotion. The thing is with a calculator, if you're looking for a general number, but you just don't know exactly what it is, you type in some numbers, and if it's generally in the area, you're pretty confident it's right. But if it's so way out there that you're like, I was looking for more like 100, not 1 million. So you know you've put something in wrong, and you can go back and do it again. And it's the same sort of analogy that I would use with our emotions. I'm not saying they're always right and they always tell us exactly what we should do. I'm saying it's how you feel. And quite often, not validating that emotion and not following that emotional pathway of information to come to a conclusion about how you feel about something so you can make a decision. That might be the mistake. Not validating that emotion enough to listen to it. Because there's 3 truths today about emotions that I'm going to share that I think are fundamental. And if you can listen to those truths, maybe even adopt them into your life as a way of understanding yourself and others, I really do believe that it will help you. You see, let's be honest, emotions are messy. And that is like the tamest way I can say it, to be honest. Because what I want to say is they're a shit show. I've said it. So here we go. They can lift us up. Our emotions can lift us up. They can tear us down. They can make us act an absolute dick. They really can. They can shut us down. They can make us say things that we regret. Most of us were never taught how to understand our emotions. We were taught, in most cases, how to hide them. We were told to toughen up, move on, let go, don't be so sensitive. Whatever it was that we were told, I'm sure that advice, that guidance was well-meaning in the moment. And in some cases, I'm sure maybe it was right. Maybe we were being too sensitive. Maybe we did need to toughen up. Maybe we needed to let go or move on. But that constant reinforcement of that way of dealing with your emotions, well, encourages you to practice it, right? And what we end up with is we practice a set of behaviors that don't benefit us. And we become really good at them because we've practiced them for such a long time. And there's so many different scenarios. But you see, doing that is like trying to drive a car while ignoring all of the symbols and signals that come up. Not just the ones on the dashboard that tell you, I don't know, that you're parked too close to something, or the sensor's going off, or his indicator's not working or is working, or whatever's going on, you're overheating, I don't know, running out of petrol. I'm talking about the ones on the road as well. The ones that tell you can't turn right, can't turn left. The ones that tell you to stop, the ones that tell you to go, the ones that tell you there's a hazard. All of those signals are really important. Obviously, driving the car is just pushing the accelerator, brake, turning the steering wheel, indicating all of those things. That's fine. We can do that. But ignoring all of the signals, that could be problematic. You could find yourself with a very serious problem very, very quickly, because our emotions are like the dashboard, like the road signs and all of the signals that we have to pay attention to when we're driving. Our emotions are those things, and they make up our emotional experience, our human experience. Emotions, they're data, they're not drama. So let's break it down. Here are the 3 truths that every human being needs to understand about emotions. This is going to be a fun episode. You're like, yeah, sounds amazing, Johnny. The first truth is our emotions are not problems to fix. As I just said, they're messages to understand. Imagine you wake up in the middle of the night and your smoke alarm is going off. You don't get angry at the alarm, although it might be irritating and loud and scary. The first thing you think to do is to check that it's not a fire. Go downstairs and you realize it's just one of your kids got home late and decided to make some toast and burn the toast. Because that's the other thing about these signals. Just because an alarm is going off within you, an emotion screaming really loudly, doesn't necessarily mean there's a house fire. It could just be burnt toast. And that's why it's so important to recognize it as a signal, as an alert, before you buy too far into it. Because when sadness, anger, or anxiety goes off within you, most of us get angry at that feeling, not the fire that's burning underneath. Our emotions are signals. They're the brain and the body's way of saying, hey, something matters here. Pay attention. For example, anger might be protecting your boundaries. Sadness might be telling you to let go. Anxiety might be showing you uncertainty that needs your attention. But instead of listening, we often silence the message through distraction or suppression or pretending we're okay, we're fine, no, there's no problem, it's all good, I'm all right. You can heal what you refuse to hear. And emotions don't disappear, they wait. Our emotions have infinite patience. Just because we don't want to listen to them, just because we don't want to validate them, just because we don't want them to be true, or we don't want to deal with the aftermath and the outcome of what it might mean, doesn't mean they're just going to go away. They're going to sit there with infinite patience, waiting. And if we're not going to pay attention, if we're not going to take action, if we're not going to listen to that signal and take the right action for ourselves, then most likely life will escalate the situations in your life, the experiences, the emotional impact of what's going on. It will escalate until the situation reaches such urgency that you have to listen. The next time you feel something uncomfortable, don't ask, how can I get rid of this? Ask, what is it trying to show me? That one question, in my experience, can absolutely change everything. The second truth is something I wish everybody knew, and it's something it took me a while to realize as well. And that is that emotions are energy in motion, not your identity. The word emotion literally comes from the Latin emovere, meaning to move. Our emotions aren't who we are. They're experiences moving through you. Think about it. You feel angry, but you're not anger. You feel sad, but you're not sadness. You are the observer of those feelings, of those emotions. The consciousness behind them. That's what you are. You're the observer. You get to recognize that you're not always going to be angry. That's not who you are now. You're not going to angrily brush your teeth. You're not going to angrily go for a wee. You're not going to angrily eat a cheese sandwich. That's not who you are. That's not your identity. When we start saying, I am depressed or I am anxious, we merge with those feelings. We make it our identity. But that's like saying, I'm rain when it's raining. And I say that sort of joking, but can you hear the difference there? If words don't mean anything, then what's the point? If I turn around to you and say, I am rain, you're going to go, what are you on about? But if I say it's rainy, you're like, oh, okay. Language is important. The words we use, people live by these words. People take action based off these words. People feel a certain way based off of the words that we say. It only goes to show that we're going to feel the same way about the words that we say to ourselves. See, emotions pass, identity stays. Try not to mix the two. So when the storm hits, let it move through you. Breathe, feel it, let it teach you. The more we allow emotions to move, the less power they have to control us. I think it was Pima Trojan that says, "We are the sky, not the weather." Finally, the third truth: every emotion is connected to a human need. Think of emotions as the language that your needs speak. You might not be saying to yourself, "I need connection," but your loneliness will. You might not be saying to yourself, "I need respect," but your anger will. Every emotion is a messenger for a need that's either not met or being ignored. Psychologists often describe emotions as our internal compass. When you feel good, it indicates that your needs are being met. When you feel bad, something important is missing, violated, or misaligned. So instead of judging your emotions, practice translating them. That emotional translation is key. Asking yourself, what emotion are you experiencing right now? How do I feel about this? Because knowing how you feel about this can help you decide what you're going to do about it. And sometimes the decision might be to do nothing instead of emotionally reacting to a situation. Choosing to not do something is a response, or it can be. So instead of judging your emotions, translate them. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? What's the emotion that I'm having? What might this emotion be trying to protect or provide? Because remember, our emotions are working for us. They're trying to move us towards what is for us, or at least what we believe is for us, until we test that theory or we challenge it in some way, if need be. And then lastly, what do I actually need right now? What do I need right now? In those moments when you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed, if you can, take yourself off to the side, close your eyes, put your hand on your chest, connecting with your breath, and just ask yourself, what do I need right now? I've very often found you need to go for a wee. You're hungry. You need to take a step out a minute. You're feeling overwhelmed. Whatever it is, it's usually a very simple need. Sometimes it's not. But it starts with asking yourself, what do I actually need right now? That's emotional intelligence right there. It's not suppressing emotions. It's interpreting them emotions. I never say interpreting right, I'm sure. It's interpret. Is it interpreting? Don't know. Getting sidebarred here. Because once you meet the need, the emotion doesn't have to shout anymore. Anger quits when boundaries are respected. Sadness softens when loss is accepted. Anxiety eases when uncertainty is managed. So let's bring it all together. Number one, emotions are messages, not problems. Learn to listen to your emotions. They're telling you how you feel. They're the way that your soul makes requests. Number two, emotions are energy, not identity. You are not how you feel. Those emotions can pass, they can come and they can go. But if we make them who we are, they become problematic. And then we start to deal with a whole other set of very complicated problems that feel unmanageable, all because we're not recognizing how we feel and realizing that those emotions can pass. These emotions aren't demands. They're not who we are. They're how we feel. Number three, emotions are connected to our needs. They are telling us this is what you need right now. And all you have to do is be kind enough to care about yourself enough to give yourself those needs, whatever they might be. That's self-leadership right there. That's growth. You see, when you understand these three truths about emotions, you stop fighting with your emotions and you start learning from them. They're there to teach us. They're there to be part of our evolution and our learning, to help us grow and move towards the person we want to become in the future. You stop asking yourself, what's wrong with me? And you start asking yourself, what are my emotions trying to help me see? If today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who you think needs to hear it. And in my opinion, I think everybody needs to hear it at some point. A lot of the stuff here we know, we just need reminding of it. I'm generally not telling you something that you don't know. I'm just reminding you of something that you've been ignoring or forgotten perhaps. I think this stuff's hardwired into us as humans, I really do. Obviously, if you want to go deeper with this stuff, if you want to get a deeper understanding of your emotions and how to lead your life from within, instead of taking cues from everywhere else and finding yourself overwhelmed and confused, then I have a little gift for you. It's called the Self-Made Life Audit. It's a free tool that helps you reflect on the 4 pillars of your life. No, you don't get a prize for guessing what those 4 pillars are. They are obviously my made model: morals, ambitions, drivers, and environments. And obviously, this is all a life audit. You're having a look through your life. You're looking at the areas. These questions are powerful. As I said a couple of weeks ago, I did the Excel Festival. I made this part of one of the sessions, and it was an emotional, very emotional session. Whew. Man, was it emotional. But it was fantastic to see people ask themselves the difficult questions. In some cases, they came to some conclusions. In other cases, they realized how important the question was and how they needed to seek that answer. I imagine there's a lot of 3 o'clock wake-ups there, wrestling to find that answer. Like I say, this is a really great tool. It's free. I'll put the link in the show notes, and you can also find it at johnlawrence.co.uk in Free Life Audit up in the top right, I think it is. But listen, thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. I want you to remember something. Try not to run from your emotions anymore. Learn their language. Figure out what they're trying to tell you. Because when you do that, life becomes a lot less about surviving and a lot more about living. Thank you very much for listening to the Johnny Lawrence podcast, and I'll see you next week for another episode.